And the path will continue here to bring heavy rain and possibly damaging winds.
Here's the winds we're looking at, 7 o'clock in the morning. Very strong, intense hurricane.
We've been having a tough time here. Whoa! Head out towards that mailbox right there and get a glimpse of what I can see, all right?
Maybe about 11 o'clock last night, this thing made a right-hand turn.
The powers are going out in many areas, and that's going to be, it's just going to be out now.
School, but for the children whose lives have been turned upside down by Hurricane Katrina, life is
absolutely nothing here. We advise people that this city has been destroyed.
The way that you communicated 20 years ago is certainly different than how we communicate today. So getting the word out to everyone, making sure they realize it went from Friday, oh, we're going to be okay, to automatically, you need to prepare for the worst.
This is for real, and now it's coming right. When you see reports of, what forecasters say you don't want to happen, is exactly what the tracking was coming.
I tell you, one of the things that I remember the most is the guy on television said, "Good night, New Orleans. Take a good look, because tomorrow it won't look the same." And that frightened the heck out of me.
And then Monday it hit, and that was the 29th. And it was horrible. The wind started, the noise started. You could hear the trees breaking. It was just awful. So all day Monday, it just raged.
You want it to get over with, and you want to get out as soon as you can to put eyes on it, because growing up and being a product of the school system, you know how important your whole life the school system is to the community.
And then again, 45 minutes.
And then there for a while, it was just watch the radar, because the weather was so bad, and I was in North Louisiana, and then we realized, what we had just gone through, and we made the decision. My father, of course, was with us as assistant superintendent, and me and two of my friends and my brother to come into Slidell to see what we could see, what we could understand.
We're cut off, we're isolated. Our telephone system is totally down. Cell towers are down, our power lines are down, so we have no telephones. We have no contact with the outside world.
And Slidell was devastated by the storm. What I saw, I can't unsee what I saw in Slidell, with just debris, with destruction, with down trees, down power lines, completely devastated, destroyed homes, and the flooding that had taken place. It was unbelievable.
It was a blur for several reasons. It's been a while, but it was also shocking. It was devastating to all of us. I started hearing the severity. All of the schools were damaged. Salmon was gone, basically.
It was tough to get here, but I did, and went in the field house and saw the water line above the doors, 7.5 feet of water in the field house. Weight room devastated, the school itself devastated.
Everything was totally knocked over and destroyed, and it wasn't just water, it was just mud, like, maybe a foot of mud through the gym that I coached in and played in, and all that, just to walk through that. I remember, there was alligator tracks through the gym floor.
The damage was just on a scale that was, the news couldn't do it justice. You couldn't pick up the scale of the damage by watching a news broadcast. You couldn't see a way out of it. You didn't know if it was ever going to be, you knew it wasn't going to be the same, but you didn't know if it was ever going to come back. And that was the gut-wrenching part of it.
I actually got a call from the fire department, one of the chiefs, saying, "Look, we got to evacuate the fire stations down on 59, down there by the lake. Can we stage at Fontainebleau High School?" I said, "Absolutely. I'll call Gail." And Gail said, "Give them whatever they want." Then the DEA is setting up on the football field. You know, they took over the football field and the field house over there. We had 2 helicopters on the football field. And it just kept growing and growing and growing that, you know, the first responders and police and all were coming here. We were feeding 3 full meals a day, about 250 people. It was just amazing to walk around here because it was just a city, you know, with different municipalities and enforcement officers just running this place. I mean, it was crazy.
I like to think that St. Tammany sort of set the tone that if you have a can-do attitude, you know, and you move to rally your people, that you can make things go faster.
Gail was in Baton Rouge, and she was kind of making contact with the State Department. Trey was at the old courthouse where he had ridden out the storm with the emergency crews.
I stayed. I lived at the courthouse, and I was the liaison between all the different agencies in the school system. And every single agency, every single parish person wanted to take care of the school system first. I mean, I still to this day, I remember Kevin Davis walking into the room. We called them the mayor's meetings. It was all the different ones. Kevin Davis, as parish president, would walk in the room and said, "What does the school system need?" And I think everybody knew that if the school system comes back, then it's certainly everyone else will be right there with them.
We had families and employees that we knew were, you know, very much wanting to know what's happened to our jobs, what's happened to our schools, you know, are we going to have to settle for some long amount of time where we are? And it was real important, we thought, to make a decision and to send a signal about what was going on in St. Tammany.
Eventually, after about a week or maybe 2 weeks, we wound up having a meeting of the principals who were available for their schools at Fontainebleau High School. Gail got up and said, "We're going to open. We're going to open soon."
No one on August 30th thought there was any chance that we could open up the first week in October. There's just no way. There's just no way that could happen. And it happened.
I mean, I still remember Gail and I talking when we set that date, you know, like people are gonna, like, no way, but we did it, you know, but we could have just pushed it down the road and it would have been easier, but it wasn't the right thing to do, and Gail made the tough decision, and then we ran with it for sure, you know.
Because of that call, people came back. Because again, that gave you a sense of, okay, we can come back and we can try. And eventually the trying became a reality. It was amazing. If you remember, August, we opened up in October.
And so Mike Leland was the athletic director at the time. Byron obviously was the principal. Basically, it was a situation where Byron said, "Can you field a football team?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "But I can sure try." We had 17 kids show up, and I had a Nerf football. It was my son's. And we practiced with a Nerf ball and 17 kids. That was our first practice. Gradually, kids started to trickle in. Not many at one time, but gradually they start trickling in. We didn't get pads until the day before we were supposed to go play West Jeff on a Friday night. So I had to call West Jeff and say, "Look, I can't in good conscience put kids on the field not having been in pads in months. You know, can we push the game back a day?" So we pushed the game back to Saturday afternoon. So I was able to Friday get kids in pads, you know, make sure everything fit, get them hitting a little bit, get them comfortable. And we went over there with 36 kids, 37 kids to play West Jeff, who wasn't really affected by the storm. And we got our butts handed to us, but we were able to get a team back on the field, which was a huge accomplishment. It wasn't about how many games we could win at that point, if any. It was about coming back.
Our school system had to find its way back through intense devastation to recover and reopen our schools.
It's not going to be business as usual on October 3rd, but we will be in business and every day will get a little bit better.
Gail and I drove that whole weekend. We went on that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We went to every school in St. Tammany Parish and put our eyes on it. And the thing that blew me away the most were the parents that were at the school doing work.
It just showed how connected a community is and how much they wanted to get back to normalcy and how much they love this area and they wanted to come home.
School was just full of parents and volunteers and teachers and principals and everyone there. They were determined to make a great first impression on that first day back for everybody who was there. So much so that they sacrificed what needed to be done at their own home to come to their child's school to do it. It's unbelievable.
They feed 3 meals a day. Breakfast at 7, lunch at 12, and dinner at 6.
The back end of it was, it became a great experience. It became a great experience in, community and, cohesiveness and people working together and having a goal and accomplishing it. I remember how good it made us feel that we could help each other.
After the first couple of weeks, things got back to somewhat, normal school. We were teaching science, math. We were doing our stuff. But those first couple of weeks were really about just talking about what we had all gone through and where we were headed from that point on, getting back to normal, having your story heard. It was important, and we were able to do those things.
It was hard to live through something like that. It divided your life before Katrina and after Katrina.
As I travel across the state and do work, there's still people when they come up to and say what we accomplished after Katrina here is still something that people across this entire state are proud of and happy that we were able to do.
The commitment to this area and to St. Tammany and our school system, number one, was amazing to be able to reopen and give people a reason to come home, and they came home. And St. Tammany Parish right now is booming because of some of the connections and some of the things that happened 20 years ago.